what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back for this week's My 2 Cent video for the week of December 2nd through December 7th, where I take a look at some of the stories, that at least the ones that caught my attention, and give you my thoughts and my opinion. And there were some interesting ones that came out this week, including some that came out from the Video Game Awards, to be exact. The Game Awards, actually, that came out this week. So, but why don't we get started with our first story, and we'll start with the first one. And this one has to do with The Last Story. For those who are not familiar with that, Last Story was a game that was released back during the Wii U, not the Wii U, the Wii era, to be exact. It was part of a campaign that a lot of Nintendo fans pushed for, what was often referred to as Operation Rainfall. This were to bring like 3 of the RPGs that were released in Japan and I think in Europe. That was Xenoblade Chronicles, Last Story, and Pandora's Tower. Sadly, at the time though, Nintendo said that they had no plans to bring the games over at this time, which obviously did not sit very well with a lot of people. Though, although the first one, Xenoblade Chronicles, would come over to the Switch, it would be available through either GameStop or through the Nintendo Store in New York City. The other one, The Last Story, would be published by Xseed, and I think near the end of the Wii U, the Wii's life cycle, Pandora's Tower would be released as well. Of course, out of all those 3, Xenoblade Chronicles would see a re-release of the original one on the 3DS, a sequel, if you could call it a sequel in a way, on the Wii U called Xenoblade Chronicles X, which would be nice if that were to come to the Switch, and of course last year with the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 making its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Well, recently a trademark filed by Nintendo has really caught some people's attention, however, including supposedly something that was put up basically by a German, I think, retailer about the possibility of The Last Story 2, although Comic.com is reporting that it turned out to be fake, to be exact. So it's possible that could be fake, it's probably that could be a mistake or placeholder or whatsoever. Still would like to see Last Story 2, however. Well, anyway, according to an article, this one's from Nintendo Life. It's also been reported by several articles like Bleeding Cool. Link will be in the description if you want to read it. It reads, and I quote, "As 2018 winds down, Nintendo is still busy registering trademarks like there's no tomorrow. A week after the Japanese company secured smartphone-related trademarks for Kirby's Dream Land, Art Academy, and Mario and Luigi's Bowser Inside Story, it's now claimed 3 more, this time for Fossil Fighters, The Last Story, and the Wii console. Once again, all these reference programs for home video game machines, downloadable video game program, and program for smartphones. As we notice on many occasions, the mention of smartphones could potentially mean something big on the way, or simply business as usual for Nintendo as it continues to renew trademark to cover old franchises, though. The fact that it could be just them covering like an old franchise or anything like that wouldn't be surprising. I mean, they've renewed the Eternal Darkness and that game so many times, though, despite the fact that people have been clamoring for either a port on, like, say, either the Switch or even a sequel, though. And the fact that they're renewing The Last Story could be just nothing more than just renewing that game. Renewing the trademark, to be exact. But that said, however, though, it could also be the possibility, although we're not 100% certain, that it could open the doors to the fact that we might see a Last Story maybe come to the Nintendo Switch, or a possibility of a sequel, despite Comic.com reporting on it being that pre-order thing from that German retail site turned out to be false and all that stuff. And honestly, I would be down for either a remake of the first Last Story to a sequel to The Last Story, to be exact, even with Pandora Towers. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles certainly has taken off, and we got, like I said, Xenoblade Chronicle X and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I don't see why they can't give Last Story another shot, or Pandora's Towers. I mean, I did enjoy the Last Story. It was a shame it came out near the end of the Wii's life cycle and all that stuff, and I think this would be a great opportunity to bring that series back, or bring that franchise back into the fold, including even Pandora's Tower as well. From what I understand, the developers that worked on it, though, are currently working on the mobile game. I think it was called Terra Battle or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, though. But it would be nice if Nintendo were to team up with them again and bring the Last Story over to the Nintendo Switch, or basically, you know, do a sequel for the Nintendo Switch. Either way, as of right now, it seems they're just filing a trademark at this time, but I do hope that it leads to maybe one day seeing the Last Story on the Nintendo Switch, or a true sequel to it coming to the Nintendo Switch. That would be nice, however. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2. And this one has to do with SNK, and they may be not only bringing some more games over to the Nintendo Switch, but possibly some other games they are announcing, even to maybe the new King of Fighters, to possibly another Metal Slug. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My True Set video for this week, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at SNK. Now, anybody who grew up during the 90s and all may remember the name SNK, as they were known for a lot of their arcade games, although they did have a console like the Neo Geo and of course the Neo Geo Pocket as well. But for me, I remember them for a lot of their arcade games. Most people will probably remember them from games like excuse me, like Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, or the King of Fighters series. I mostly remember them from games like Shock Trooper 1 and 2, Shengu series, Super 8-Man, and of course one of my favorite 2D shooters, the Metal Slug series, with Metal Slug 3 being my all-time favorite. The company kind of hit somewhat of a downturn in 2000, I think in the early 2000s, and pretty much sort of kind of went out of business. I think they were later picked up by Playmore with the name SNK Playmore. And then I think eventually they got bought out by like a Chinese investors or something like that. But in either case, we've seen them make a comeback recently, though. While we've seen some games like the Metal Slug Defense come to mobile games, which some people may or may not be a big fan of, we've also seen games such as the King of Fighters that came out. I think it was 15. I think that was the last one. I'm not 100% sure. To earlier release, or sometime released this year, SNK Heroine Tag Team Frenzy, which made their way over to not only the PS4 but the Nintendo Switch as well. And of course, we've seen a whole bunch of old school Neo Geo games make a comeback as well, whether it's games like the Metal Slug, Shock Trooper, Art of Fighting, or even the most obscured one like the Super Spy, which would like to see that make a comeback one day, though. Well, anyway, it seems as though SNK looks like they are planning to bring out some more games as well. We know that supposedly Samurai Spirit is in the works and is scheduled for a 2020 release. But not only that, we're also looking at, it looks like though it may be coming to the Nintendo Switch as well, along with the possibility of a new King of Fighters and a Metal Slug game. From an article, I believe this one is posted on Nintendo Life, it's reported, and again, several articles, you could check out the link in the description. It says, quote, "In September, SNK announced a new Samurai Showdown game making use of Unreal Engine 4. The working title in Japan, known as Samurai Spirit, was scheduled to arrive next year on the PS4. It is now believed the title will be released on multiple other systems, including the Nintendo Switch, in the second quarter of 2019. This information comes from an article about a recent SNK conference held in South Korea. There's even a presentation slide showing Nintendo logos, what looks like to be the King of Fighters. I think it's XIV. Again, I don't know Roman numerals, so I apologize if I don't get that one right. Samurai Spirit and Metal Slug. Right. And it says, not long ago, SNK producers said the King of Fighters would definitely be a possibility on the Switch. For now, we'll just have to wait and see how all of this unfolds. So, the slide, basically, the picture that they showed, and again, link will be in the description, like what they mentioned, they said like the new King of Fighter games, it shows it coming on PS4, Xbox, Steam, and has the Nintendo logo on it, along with Samurai Spirit, along with Metal Slug. Now, again, we don't know if this is a case of a typo, or if this is a case of making an error, or if it's true. But if it is true, assuming this is all true, given the fact that the Switch does run Unreal Engine 4, and I believe they just recently updated it as well, it sounds like, it looks like we could be getting the King of Fighters game and Samurai Spirit coming to the Nintendo Switch. Given the fact that we're seeing a lot of fighting games start to make an appearance onto the Nintendo Switch, with last week when it was announced that Kill la Kill, If the game, an anime fighting game, is coming to the Switch. We know that Guilty Gear from Arc System Works is coming to the Switch. We have Dragon Ball Z Fighter as well, and just recently at the Game Awards, though, which I'll talk about a little bit, is the announcement of Mortal Kombat 11 as well. We're still waiting, minus the fact that we're waiting for Bandai Namco to ever bring Soul Calibur or Tekken, or Capcom bringing Street Fighters and all. It sounds more and more likely that it may not be out of the realm of possibility. It's possible SNK may have looked at how SNK Heroine Tag Team Friendly did on the Switch. Maybe it did well enough for them to figure, you know what, let's bring these over to the Nintendo Switch as well. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, although we'll have to wait and see for an official announcement. As for the Metal Slug game, though, I'm a little curious to see how they handle this one. I remember reading about the possibility of them maybe rebooting the series. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, or if they go through with that. I don't know if it's basically Metal Slug Anthology coming to the Nintendo Switch. I don't know if it's Metal Slug 8 to be exact. I don't know if they were actually going to reboot the series, or if they're taking it into direction, and this is just maybe just a long shot, maybe doing it in a Metroidvania style approach. So unknown about that one, but I would definitely be open to a brand new Metal Slug game for the Nintendo Switch. But overall, we'll have to wait and see until we get like official confirmation if this is 100% correct. My fingers crossed. I hope it is, but it's sounding like that Samurai Spirit and King of Fighters looks like they are planning to bring them over to the Nintendo Switch. And if you're a fighting game person, hopefully this news certainly puts a smile on your face, to be exact. I may not be the biggest fighting game person, but I certainly have nothing wrong if they bring King of Fighters and Samurai Spirit to the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure there is an audience for those type of games, especially those who own a Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with the so-called mystery teaser announcement that Koei Tecmo made that, well, it may not be the game everybody wants, though. Although they did announce several other games they're bringing over to the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My True Sense video, and for this week we're going to be taking a look at the so-called announcement Koei Tecmo made. Now last week, Koei Tecmo kind of teased something that they were working on and announced that they would make the announcement, I think, before the Video Game Awards came out. Well, they did, and well, it's not exactly the title everybody wants though. Excuse me, supposedly the title is called Winning Post 9, and according to the reveal trailer, which has certainly gotten its dislikes, mostly because people were disappointed it wasn't a Ninja Gaiden game or a Winback or anything like that. It's basically a horse racing game, a horse jockey racing game. If I'm not mistaken, according to what Destructoid picked up from GameUsta, GEMATSU, they're saying, quote, "The latest issue of Weekly Famitsu reveals Winning Post 9, the latest entry in the Koei Tecmo horse racing simulation series for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. It will launch in March 2019 in Japan. The information they've released about it is racing scenes have dramatically evolved. The bond element between jockey and horse has turned into command. World Suitable is a new, if I'm saying the name correctly, is a new element that displays breed suitability in Japan, America, and Europe. In Rival Showdown, where enemies are also backed by strategy, the racehorses' fighting spirits will fluctuate depending on the outcome. Rival showdowns or showdowns such as MEJIRO, if I'm saying the name correctly, McQueen versus Toka Tio, Teio, that shows the scenes and rivals trend on the battle and includes new elements like fighting spirits. Rivals are not limited to horses. Unique characters will also appeal. Horse owners, animal trainers, and jockeys will appear as part of the rival camp. Use Bond Command to secure your victory." So, obviously, that was basically the big announcement that Koei Tecmo made, and obviously not everybody was thrilled with it. A lot of people were hoping a new Ninja Gaiden, all this and that, and you know what? To me, though, I'm glad I kind of set my expectations a mile, because I didn't want to jump to any conclusion, declare that this was going to be the big announcement or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure there's an audience for this. I'm not particularly one of those audiences or anything like that, but I'm sure there are some who will appreciate this game. But I do understand that there are some that are kind of disappointed and were looking for Koei Tecmo to announce like the other games, you know, like maybe like Ninja Gaiden or Winback or Ryguard or anything like that. But if this is the kind of game that interests you, it's worth pointing out that it's only going to be released in Japan, but being that Switch and PS4 are region free, if you want to get those titles that way, you know, imported, most likely through Play Asia to be exact, then I'm sure you could pick this up. So if you're a big fan of horse racing or horse jockey racing, then you could give this one a go. If there is at least one thing I'd like to point out, they also announced the fact that Samurai Warriors 4 DX is coming to the PS4 and the Switch, supposedly by next March. According to an article on Destructoid, it points out that Koei Tecmo has announced that Samurai Warriors 4 DX will be coming to the PS4 and Switch in Japan next year. Released on March 14, 2019, it will be a complete edition of the game with over 150 pieces of downloadable content included, so no mention if it will include Samurai Warriors 4 2 or Empire. The game will retail for roughly 5,800 yens, roughly $51 though. Again, as of right now, no word if this is coming to the West though, but I have a feeling that I have a feeling there's a good a good chance they will bring this to the West. And even if they don't, like I said, You can always import the game if you want to, since both the Switch and PS4 are region-free. And I do remember hearing that Dynasty Warriors 8 Complete Edition is coming to the Switch, but from what I remember hearing, that one is basically, for the West though, it's going to be digital only, while Japan will get a physical copy, which obviously there are those who probably will go through PlayAsia to get the physical copy if that's the kind of game that interests you. So overall, yes, I can understand some people might be disappointed the fact that the big reveal that Koei Tecmo announced was a horse racing game titled Winning Post 9, though. But honestly, I'm not losing entire sleep over this, though. And the fact that they're bringing Samurai Warriors 4 DX to the Nintendo Switch certainly does at least put a smile on my face. I mean, between Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, kind of prefer Samurai Warriors maybe a little bit more over Dynasty Warriors, although I still feel that Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors, in my opinion, are the best warrior games out there. Again, my opinion alone on that one. So overall, not losing sleep over this, but I'm not surprised that there are people that are disappointed with Koei Tecmo's announcement. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to talking more about Fallout 76, because apparently they've, just when you think things couldn't get any worse for them, it, well, got even worse than what people realize. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My Choose Net video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Fallout 76, in which it somehow seems to not find, or at least find more ways to get itself into trouble. Now, that game has gotten bad press since the game has launched, and some of it is justifiable, some of it may not be, but in terms of the fact that they may have shipped a broken or incomplete game, yeah, I can understand why people are upset. Not to mention the whole canvas bag, where basically people who shell out $200 for the Power Armor Edition may have instead got a what looks like a nylon or what looks like a trash bag, to be exact. Not to mention reports that the canvas bag was handed over to influential, if I'm saying the name, YouTube influential and journalists. It's sort of, in a way to kind of give the impression of giving like positive coverage of it. To recently, they were talking about, they recently sent out a message that they are going to they'll send you the actual canvas bag and all that stuff. And just when you think that was going to be put away, now a new disaster has emerged. And this time it seems as though some people's information may have gotten out in a way. From an article from Ford magazine, from Forbes.com, again, link in the description, which also has an update, I'll read the update in a minute. It states, quote, what may very well be the most bizarre and unsettling twist in the ongoing saga that is Fallout 76. Some players reported Wednesday that they inadvertently gained access to support tickets of fellow Fallout 76 players. Not only did other gamers gain access to these tickets, they were able to see personal information such as address and contact information, as well as credit card numbers. See update below, though I'll get to that as well. It gets weirder, of course. I'm not sure it can get any worse, because not only can players see this information, they can actually edit and resolve support tickets themselves, giving them all sorts of power over the fate of their fellow Fallout 76 players. Many of these tickets were apparently related to the canvas bag kerfuffle surrounding the $200 Power Armor edition of a game, a controversy that failed Quantine, QUAINT, compared to what just happened today. This is, to put it mildly, beyond shocking and a massive invasion of privacy. The implication of this security breach could haunt Bethesda well into the future, certainly more than the usual Bethesda glitch. While the issue appears to have been resolved, it's more than a little unsettling to think that anyone with bad intentions could have grabbed up loads of personal information from Fallout 76 players. Now, it says, quote, that both the posts initially included screenshots and proof. This was basically what people wrote on Reddit and all that stuff. And where did I? Okay, as proof, but those who were understandably taken down to protect private information. And while Bethesda has told customers that the issue has been resolved, there have been no other communication assuring customers of security of their private information. Bethesda even locked the thread of their own support site, shutting down discussion, though discussion continues on Reddit, Twitter, and elsewhere. That is, if you haven't garnered yet, a very big deal. It's a much bigger deal than the nylon bag gate controversy. It's honestly a bigger deal than Fallout 76 not being a very good game. Somehow Bethesda allowed anyone with a computer and an internet connection and a Bethesda account to have access to hundreds of other players' support tickets and private information, as well as the ability to add and close those tickets. I can't even. Hopefully we'll get more details from the statement from the publisher soon, and the update they got from Bethesda support. It basically they got, and this is what Bethesda wrote on the Bethesda support on their Twitter account, and this is what the story has been updated to. We experienced an error with our customer support website that allows some customers to view support tickets submitted by a limited number of other customers during the brief exposure window. Upon discovery, we immediately took down the website to fix the error. We are still investigating this incident and will provide additional update as we learn more. During the incident, it appears that the user's name, contact information, and proof of purchase information provided by a limited number of customers on their support ticket requests may have been viewable by other customers accessing the customer support website for a limited time. But no full credit card number or passwords were disclosed. We plan to notify customers who may have been impacted, though. They also released a rather response to this, though, and they said they basically apologize about this, though. Regardless of whether you think regardless if you think this was just an error or a computer glitch, this is more of a disaster for Bethesda than they realize. We have now possibly gone maybe a little bit beyond the Alien Colonial Marine disaster. The fact that information like this was leaked out, and if what Bethesda is saying is true, that no one's credit card information, I mean, they lost a lot of trust, and this just adds more fuel to the fire. I mean, I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Bethesda is going to be under a lot of pressure. In my opinion, though, I believe that they will be under a lot of pressure to deliver with Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield because of how this entirely played out. While I applaud that they apologize about this whole situation, though, that doesn't mean that people are willing to forgive them. After the way they handled Fallout 76 from the launch of the game to the whole canvas bag situation, especially saying that they were going to give you 500 items for free, which equals basically spending $5 for an in-game currency over the fact that you spent $200 over a Power Armor edition. And now this, yeah, you can see why plenty of people could be outraged and pretty upset with Bethesda. This has not been great for them for lots of reasons though, and I seriously hope they reevaluate a lot of things, because they have to earn people's trust back after what happened like this. Yeah, they've really lost a lot of people's trust, and it's a shame because I like Bethesda. I like some of the games they put out, but when you have a situation like this, especially with people's like personal information or credit card information like that, yeah, that I can see why a lot of people are pretty upset with Bethesda, even if wasn't their intention, though. The fact that this all connects to Fallout 76 just makes the situation worse, though. I hope it's resolved, but personally, Bethesda's going to have to work really hard to earn people's trust back after how this all played out. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, we'll get to part 5, and this one has to do with the Game Awards that happened yesterday. I didn't get a chance to watch it, unfortunately, because I was at work, but I was able to read up on some information and some surprises we did get. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 5, our final part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the Game Awards 2018. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch it or anything like that, mostly because I was at work. So, unfortunately, it sucks that I didn't get a chance to watch it, but oh well. But at least I did get to learn about who won the awards. And I will say that if you're a God of War or Red Dead Redemption fan, though, this probably was a good night for you, because they that game took home several awards. So, according to Destructoid, in terms of the winners, though, it looks like Fortnite won some awards. Though it won for, again, links will be in the description, Best Ongoing Game. Let's see, what else did it win? It also won Best Multiplayer Game. Did it win anything else? Online game, multiplayer game. Yep, because it seems that's the only two that I could find. In terms of best independent game and best game for impact was Celsius, Celeste. Action game went to Dead Cell, which was sort of a fun game, a Metroidvania and Dark Souls type of approach. Role-playing game went to Monster Hunter World. Fighting game went to... let me move this over a little bit. Okay. Fighting game went to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Family game went to Overcooked 2. Strategy game went to Into the Beach. Sports and racing game went to Forza Horizon 4. Best student game, Combat 2018. Content creator of the year is Ninja. Best esport game is obviously Overwatch, though some of these are esports, not really a huge thing. Best debut indie game, The Messenger. Really like that game. I think you guys should give that game a chance. But as far as the winners were, obviously Red Dead Redemption and God of War definitely won. Were the big winners. God of War, let's start with Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 won for Best Narrative, Best Score, Best Audio Design, and Best Performance by Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan. In terms for God of War won for Best Action Adventure Game. It also won for Best Game Direction. And it actually won Game of the Year for it. So obviously this was a good night for Sony and Rockstar, definitely these. So congratulations on those guys for winning several awards. Congratulations to Rockstar for winning for Red Dead Redemption 2. And congratulations to Sony and the folks at Sony Santa Monica Studio for winning Game of the Year with God of War. I'm very happy that they won that one. God of War was definitely a fun game and definitely on my list of, going to be on my top 10 list of favorite PS4 games for 2018, though. And it should once again prove that despite people's claims, single-player games are not dead, though. I am a little disappointed that Nintendo, unfortunately, did not win any awards for this year, though. So it is somewhat of a disappointment, but I'm not losing sleep. But either way, kudos to Rockstar and Sony for taking home some awards this year for the Game Awards, though. Although I will say I am somewhat kind of disappointed that Spider-Man didn't win any, though. That's really a shame. As far as announcements goes for it, though, we did get some announcements at the Game Awards, though. Some were interesting, but there are only 3 that kind of caught my attention. Those 3 are kind of Nintendo related, but nevertheless, there are some that definitely also caught my attention. Stanley Parable, P-A-R-A-B-L-E, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, is heading toward consoles in 2019. I heard that it was kind of like a walking simulation game, to be exact. Although no word if this one will hit the Switch or not, though. We'll have to wait and see. But it will be interesting to see if it does, though. We learned that a new Far Cry game's coming out, New Dawn, and for what I understand, supposedly it is a sequel to Far Cry 5, so that certainly is nice. We learned that Crash Team Racing is getting remastered, and that's going to be a multi-platform release, so that certainly is good. We learned that a Monster Hunter type game called Dauntless, Dauntleess, is coming as well. It's coming to mobile, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, so that certainly is nice. Obsidian, Obsidian, is releasing a new first-person RPG called The Outer Worlds. We have a release date for Rage 2, which is launching on May 14th as well, and so basically, and BioWare, of course, teased for Dragon Age 4, which I'm not really too sure, given my not really trust the EA raising that. But the one that caught my attention, and these might be Switch related, though two of them are, but one is multi-platform, is the announcement, of course, of Mortal Kombat 11, which apparently is set to make its debut, set to make a return onto consoles. Not only that, but it's also coming to the Nintendo Switch. From a post on Nintendo Everything, it says, quote, "During the Game Awards tonight, it was revealed that Mortal Kombat 11 is on its way. For Nintendo fans, the big news here is that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch." In the official blur, the official, I think, statement, and it says, quote, "Mortal Kombat's back better than ever in the next evolution of the iconic franchise. The all-new custom character variation gives you unprecedented control of customizing the fighter and make them your own. The new graphics engine showcase ever skull-shattering, eye-popping moments, bringing you close to the fight you can feel. Also featuring a roster of new and returning classic fighters. Mortal Kombat best-in-class cinematic story mode continues the epic saga over 25 years in the making." Now, the most interesting thing about this announcement of Mortal Kombat 11, of course, is the fact that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of interesting, though. I'm very curious to see exactly who is developing the Switch version. Is it being developed by NetherRealms, Studios, if I'm saying the name correctly? Is it developed by what most Switch owners view as a respected developer, Panic Button? Is it being developed by someone else? So I'm very curious to see who is developing the Switch version and how well will it run in the Nintendo Switch. And we also know that a beta is supposedly coming out, I believe, for the PS4 and Xbox One, but no Switch beta, though. And I'm very curious to see, will the Switch version be released around the same time as basically the PS4 and Xbox One version, or are Switch owners going to have to wait a little bit later, like we did with Dark Souls Remaster? So certainly there is a lot of questions. And when I went over to Nintendo's YouTube page, they certainly had the Mortal Kombat trailer up. So obviously it's clear, though, that Mortal Kombat 11 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. The other announcement, and this one is sort of interesting, is the fact that we are getting another entry in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And this was the first game announced at the Video Games Awards. And we've now learned that it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive. According to The Verge, it's reported that Nintendo has announced Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. The game was announced through the trailer showing off at the Game Awards, which are currently in, this came out, this article was written yesterday, so it will be in progress. It will be out in 2019. Team Ninja, the studio behind Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, and Null, NIOH, is on board as developers. So the fact that we got the folks who worked on the Ninja Gaiden and supposedly Koei Tecmo involved, if I'm not mistaken, is certainly nice. On top of that, the trailer also showed off, of course, the X-Men, along with, Wolverine, which is certainly a kind of slap in the face to Capcom, what they did with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite when they announced that they weren't putting, like, the X-Men or anything like that. Yeah, but the fact that this one's being brought to the Nintendo Switch as an exclusive is interesting. It makes you kind of wonder, did Disney go to Nintendo about this, or did Nintendo go to Disney saying that about this as well? So I'm very curious to see what led to this exclusive to happen, though. Also, I'm very curious to see if we will see maybe a port of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 come to the Nintendo Switch as well. So I'm very curious about that one. And the last one, obviously, was the announcement that Joker from Persona 5 will be making its way over to Super Smash Bros. Though, as I think a DLC character to download, though. Although I haven't heard any dates yet, but at least as far as I'm aware of. But a new rumor has kind of popped up about this following this reveal, and it's pointing to the possibility that Persona 5 could be coming to the Nintendo Switch. According to an article from Nintendo Soup, they are reporting that following the reveal of Joker for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a new rumor about Persona 5 has surfaced. Mystic Distance, a translator and secondary writer for Persona Central, KI Insider, and many other websites claim they have been told Persona 5 is heading to Nintendo Switch in 2019. Mystic Distance said multiple sources have provided them rather damning evidence that the game is coming to Nintendo Switch in 2019. They also state that they have taken great caution in sharing this rumor with the public. We've also learned that Persona 5 will be announced the day Joker becomes playable in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The updated version will have a new title and contain adjustments to the game, additional aspects to the scenario, among other wanted addition. A Switch port has been seriously considered since mid-2017, claimed Mystic Distance. Mystic Distance adds that they are aware of Persona 5's new title on Switch and its launch window, but couldn't share that information at this point. So, if this is true, that we are getting Persona 5, then that's actually kind of neat, though. Although, I will say that we've seen many characters make an appearance on Super Smash Bros. That doesn't automatically mean their games are coming over to the Nintendo Switch. We've had cases like Solid Snake come over, and while we've had games like Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater make its way onto the Nintendo 3DS, no other entries have came over to any of the Nintendo system. Recently we got the Belmonts. Simon and Trevor Belmont have made it over to the Nintendo, that will be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but no word on any Castlevania games coming to the Nintendo Switch or anything like that. We have Cloud from Final Fantasy VII in, of course, Super Smash Brothers as well, but as of right now, the only Final Fantasy game coming to the Nintendo Switch is supposedly the port of the original Final Fantasy VII. Might be based off of the PS4 port, to be exact. It doesn't sound, it's unlikely, although I could be wrong, that Final Fantasy VII Remake will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Then again, that game has been in development hell, to be exact though. But hearing the possibility that Persona 5 could come to the Switch certainly is a nice thing. And I would say the odds are, and at least I could be wrong on this, but the odds sound good. Sound like that we will be getting the game coming to the Nintendo Switch, in my opinion. That's where I'm leaning towards, though. It's possible that Aulx saw how other games are doing well on the Nintendo Switch and decided, you know what, let's bring this one over, though. And if it does well, maybe they'll consider bringing maybe Persona 4 or any of the other entries as well. So my hope is that this rumor is true, but until we get official confirmation, it looks as though that Joker from Persona 5 will make his way over into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And so overall, little disappointed that Nintendo didn't win any awards or anything like that this year, though, but I'm not losing sleep over it. And kudos, of course, to Sony with God of War winning Game of the Year, and kudos to Rockstar with Red Dead Redemption 2 doing very well and winning some awards as well. And while Metroid Prime Trilogy or Metroid Prime 4 wasn't shown off at the Game Awards, which is kind of a disappointment though, it was nice to see that Mortal Kombat 11 was coming to the Switch. I believe that it's been confirmed. And the fact that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is in development and is exclusive. May not be the big announcement like what we saw with last year with Bayonetta 1 and 2 and then Bayonetta 3 announced, but hey, I'm pleased with what I saw. I was least pleased with what I saw. So overall, like I said, kudos to Sony and Rockstar. Nice that we're getting an exclusive Marvel game, and it's nice that Mortal Kombat 11 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about this trademark that Nintendo has filed, especially with the last story? Do you think that all this is just them renewing a trademark? Or do you think this is setting the stage for the possibility that we could see, say, a remake of the last story come to the Nintendo Switch? Or the possibility that they could be doing a sequel like The Last Story 2? What are your thoughts about this, that this Samurai Spirit from SNK could be coming to the Nintendo Switch? Do you think this report is true? Do you think what they were talking about was probably a typo? Do you think this means do you think this opens the door to the possibility that a King of Fighter games will come to the Nintendo Switch? And what about supposedly the new Metal Slug game? What kind of game do you think this new Metal Slug game will turn out to be? What are your thoughts about Koei Tecmo's supposedly reveal announcement for Winning Post 9? Do you think, was this something you're looking forward to? Were you disappointed with what they announced though? And what about Samurai Warriors 4 DX coming to the PS4 and Nintendo Switch? Is that a game you're looking forward to playing, or have you had your fill with Warrior games to be exact? Excuse me. What about this whole situation with Fallout 76, and now with this whole supposedly personal information being leaked? Do you think this is just a disaster that just keeps getting worse and worse for Bethesda?
Do you want to go with Tommy Pastrami, or you just want to do yourself?
I'll be with you in just a minute. Okay. Sorry about that. I was just speaking with someone though. Right. Do you think that this whole disaster is bad for Bethesda, to be exact? Do you think this is just going to get worse and worse for them, or do you think we're done with this? And do you think it's possible we could see a lawsuit come out of this, to be exact? And what about the Game Awards 2018? What are your thoughts about it? Were you pleased with what you saw? Were you not pleased with what you saw? What do you think about some of the announcement of games that they made? Were there some that you were looking forward to? You looking forward to Mortal Kombat 11? Are you looking forward to getting that to the Switch or not? What about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3? Is that something you're looking forward to or not? And of course, seeing Joker on Smash Brothers. Do you think this opens the door to the rumors about Persona 5 coming, or do you think that you don't see that happening? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notification of any videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to this channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. This will be in the description of this video, and I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!